Warning. Warning.
This show contains mature content. Listener discretion is advised.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
One angry New York City Puerto Rican decided to start a radio show, determined to piss the world off by shoving a mirror in front of society's face. He kicked them in the balls.
What are you? Who are you?
This is the Crotch Shot Radio Show. Crotch Shot Radio Show.
This is not a test. This is a broadcast transmission.
We're going to stay on the air.
And now, the Whippy.
Yeah, welcome to the Crotch Shot Radio Show, where we kick the issues in the balls. Today, I am honored to have comedian extraordinaire, Buttah Man. What's up, Buttah Man?
What up, dude? What's going on, man? I'm glad we were able to make this happen, bro.
Yeah, man. I've been seeing you here in the open mic circuit here in New York for at least a year, and I really love where you're where you came from, like your unique perspective based on your own life experience. I guess what my first question is, I don't want to be disrespectful and out you, but
That's already been happening. That's already happened, dude. That's already out there.
It's already out. So that
cat is out of the bag. It's running across the field. It's on the pride parade. The cat is out of the bag, dude. So you're good. You don't worry about that, bro.
All right. So, you are a very happy gentleman.
That's the politically correct of saying gay.
Yes. I hate political correctness, though. But hey, yeah.
I'm for you, homie. What up? Yes, I'm happy. Extremely happy. Very happy.
Very happy.
Not too happy, but just happy enough.
Happy enough. So, how was it when you came out to your family?
Oh, you know what the thing was, bruh. I am, from the Caribbean, West Indian. I talk about the fact that it's a very homophobic culture. Part of the reason why, I was definitely not, even though I may have had the feelings or inclination to, or attraction to dudes, but never really acted on it, was because of the stigma of how it is in the Caribbean. What was cool was that, I guess, as an adult, once I had achieved a certain level of proving that I could be responsible and take care of myself, and I did everything, I finished college, I tried to do the girlfriend, almost got engaged thing, whatever, but it just wasn't for me. When I finally had to face my truth and came back and talked to my family about it, I think at that point, they were more accepting of it with me as an adult, where I think if I was 17 and was like, hey, Mom, I feel it would have probably been another scenario. But luckily for me, my mom was very, accepting. My family was cool. And I learned through that process that a lot of times you don't give the people who love you enough credit to open up yourself to them. And it doesn't have to be about being gay. It could be just about anything. A lot of times we harbor and carry around a lot of pain and a lot of, BS or whatever. And we don't want to share it with our friends and family because we don't want to be judged, or we assume that they will react a certain way. Not understanding that a lot of times the people in our life, we don't give them enough credit, for loving us as who we are, And that was the lesson I learned from, from the situation with my family.
So, aside from your family, I know, especially in Jamaican culture and West Indian culture, they're very violent towards any towards homosexuality. I mean, you even mentioned that in one of your sets about a popular West Indian song.
Oh yeah, I mean, it culturally, well, I'm from the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, and there is definitely this sort of thing with homophobia. I think Jamaica is a little over the top, where people have had to leave, for being threatened, and it's a little more intense there. And when I talk about a lot of the songs like "Boom Bye Bye" and "A Papi Boy Head," "Stefan Chichiman," there's a lot of those songs. Because they get away with it because, unless you're, versed in that lingo, you're not going to know what they're saying. So you're just dancing around like, Stefan Chichiman, you don't know he's talking about stepping on stomping out like a homo, or stomping out like a gay person. Mm-hmm. So but again, those are classic songs and they exist, and I think Beanie Man probably got the most heat out of any artist. Probably Buju Banton did get some heat around that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, that culture is so accepting that those artists can make money in Jamaica for years, and there's never any ramification or fallout. I think with American hip hop artists or American artists or world artists in general, there's a reaction, and there's definitely people will be protesting up in arms and all that kind of stuff when that kind of thing happens. But yeah, for the most part, Caribbean culture, yeah, it still is very homophobic. I talk about it. It's like they're probably the most homophobic race on the planet, possibly. But at the end of the day, I think over time things have gotten a lot better. There is an era of tolerance. That somewhat, even when I went home recently, there was a big movement for gay marriage down there, which maybe 10 years ago may have been unheard of. But there was actually an event, and it was well attended, and there wasn't anything crazy that happened. So I think that there's a new generation of people, and I think as the older folks kind of die out, the younger people who come in with new attitudes and more acceptance kind of don't feel any kind of way about it.
Well, we got Tyga. He's actually, it just came out. Tyga, who is dating Kylie Jenner, is cheating on Kylie Jenner with a transgender woman. So maybe that's positive.
Wait, you mean Tyga?
Yeah. Okay, Tyga.
Oh, okay.
I don't listen to that newfangled music.
There's a Tyga. The Tyga.
Tyga. Oh, okay.
No, Tyga. I mean, I'm not really. I don't know about that. I can't really speak to that. I just, each his own. You know what I mean? Do you, homie? If that's what I don't know how substantiated that is, because I'm hearing that it's true that he did share the photo of his penis, which actually was quite, yeah. So, but he did it. I don't know if what I'm hearing is I don't know if it was the exchange with the trade. I don't know. I don't know how true it is. I don't really want to validate anything that I don't know 100% know about. You know what I mean? But that's a whole other bag in itself. You know what I mean? The whole transgender, transphobia, that kind of thing. I think with the whole Caitlyn Jenner thing, it's very interesting because it's definitely made things a lot easier for just a regular gay dude like me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's people are okay, I can deal with that, but the other stuff, I'm whoa, that's what has people turning their heads now. Before you'd be so-and-so's gay, and it's what? Now it's so-and-so's transgender, and people just scratching their heads okay, I can understand a gay dude now, but yeah, so it's interesting times, Jordan. Interesting times, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, and, the whole thing was, we had the same problem with, people hating on gay people until Ricky Martin came out and it was fuck it. He's a national treasure. We can't say shit about Ricky Martin.
Yeah, I know, right? Living La Vida Loca has done too much for the community. I get it, It's we aight. No, man, I think that's what it is. I think, one thing I've learned is that, I was in the closet for a minute, because of my job, because of my family, because of my friends, and I was living a life that was basically based on me trying to please other people. And so now, I'm living a more honest and more truthful life, and I don't have to lie about a lot of stuff anymore. And that that kind of weighs on you. You know what I mean? Especially when you have the pressure. And when you're able to release that and be yourself, then it's more like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you find that the people in your life who really support you and love you are going to be there. The people who are comfortable with it will eventually fade away or, you know, do whatever. But I'm not going to lie and say I haven't lost some of, like, my male heterosexual friends. Like, I'm not going to get the call to go out to the strip clubs anymore because people know, you know what I mean? And one of the things that I held on to for Kevin from coming out was because I knew that once I did, and like my male homies knew, I would never be, quote, one of the guys again. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
yeah, because
I enjoyed being one of the guys. I did. Like I enjoyed, you know, that life of going out, hanging out. Like it was cool. You know, the acceptance, the male body, and all that stuff. It's just that after a while, you can't pretend anymore to enjoy, you know, going to the strip clubs with your homies. You can't pretend, you know, to, you know, enjoy talking to this young lady, wasting her time when you're really into guys. Like, at some point, you have to be, you know, like, I can't be living my life for the show. I have to be living my life for me.
Yeah. Of course. And that kind of reminds me of one of your other jokes is, like, you know, most guys worry about gay dudes because they think all gay dudes are trying to fuck them.
Yeah, that's my I'm very much like I wanna try to use my greater purpose in comedy is to try to end homophobia by letting straight guys know that, you know, like we're not trying to rape y'all. Like we're not like I think that's a huge misconception that people have about gay dudes is that we're all out like prowling, trying to recruit straight guys, trying to get them over to our team, and it's just ridiculous because at the end of the day, it was so funny.
The few,
like, in
the
comedy,
proud,
and I love my comedy brethren.
Yeah,
but it's comedy world is such a safe place for homophobic non/homophobes to express their homophobia. And it's funny, and I think one thing about being gay and being, you know, on the DL and everything else is that you develop a very thick skin because, you know, people call you faggot, people say shit, fucked up shit to you. After a while, you got to find a way to deal with it, you know what I mean? And so you develop a core. But the funny thing to me about the whole shit is that, like, you know, I'm looking at some of these dudes talking about, yeah, man, you know, so gay, and you know, I'm not trying to drop the soap around them, and I'm like, motherfucker, you can drop the soap all you want because you're ugly. No one wants you. Gay men have very high standards.
I know. Yeah, like, yeah. Most of y'all, most gay guys are.
The motherfuckers out there are just like, by process of elimination, have nothing to worry about getting approached by a guy.
I know most gay dudes are bigger cunts than women. I swear to God, like, hey, fat ass. I'm like, damn, I'm just trying to buy a water, you motherfucker. I said, excuse me. I got a man. Right. Like, what the fuck? Jesus. I get no love.
Is this what happened to you? Is this are we talking?
It only happened to me once, so now I just generalize on the whole.
I apologize on behalf of the community, bro.
It's like I'll get into an argument, you know, like, and it has nothing to do with them being gay. It's like something like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, oh shit, maybe you should lose some weight, you fat ass. I'm like, you motherfucker. I would hit you, but it'd be like hitting a woman. So something like that.
Oh, oh boy, oh gosh.
Just.
Nah, man, it's not that deep, man. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, there's different, you know, just like in straight world, you got your dudes who are bitches. You know what I mean? You got men can be bitches. Men can be bitches.
Oh yeah.
Men can gossip as much as women. Men can be petty and catty as much as women. You know, just because you go about it with a more masculine, macho strut doesn't mean you're not being a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you're hating on someone, when you fucking, you know, the shit that motherfuckers do, all, you know, motherfuckers are I mean, come on now. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've talked to women, and I've dealt with men who were fucking who were telling women I was gay when I had never done shit with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it was more like just shit that you say to try to fuck up somebody's gay. You know what I mean? You know, it was just more like, you know, so I've had both of those experiences. And all I can say is that, you know, you can't let an experience, a fucked up experience with one individual fuck up your shit as far as your opinion about a whole bunch of people. And I think this is where, like, for my comedy, because when people see me on stage or whatever and I'm talking, you know, no one assumes I'm gay until I say the words out of my mouth, I'm gay. And then there's always, like, this, like,
bullshit.
Like, whoa, you don't look like the gay guys on Bravo. Like, what the fuck?
No, right?
Because there's a stereotype of a gay person based on, you know, the people that you see on television and in movies. There's always the flamboyant gay character that's gay for flavor. That character that's there, like, oh, honey, girlfriend, you know, like that character. And I think that people tend to think that that's how all gay guys are like. And it's like, no, there's dudes who are out here who just, like, you know, who do lots of stuff just like regular guys. It's just the only thing when they go on at night, they prefer the company of a dude versus a woman. But when you see them on the street, they're just men. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I first met you and you said you were gay, I was gonna try to get you to be my fairy godmother and try to give me a makeover. But anyways,
I'm not that kind of gay. I don't do makeovers. I don't know how to spill. I can't teach you how to spill tea. I can't teach you how to, quote, read anybody. Like, that's not really what, you know.
Yeah. Quick question.
I can still help you say verses for hip hop. I can do that.
All right. Well, quick question. Oops.
I can help you get a more butch gay dude if that's your thing.
All right. But yeah, quick question. When you're like at these open mics or when you're at a comedy show and like a straight comedian is like saying all types of faggots and shit, do you just like roll your eyes and like, oh, come on, dude?
First of all, I wouldn't roll my eyes because that would make me totally gay. No, I just, you know what it is? I just listen. You know what I mean? I listen. I mean, when you think about it, comedy is an equal offender, and you can't go into comedy. You know, you never know what joke is going to offend any particular group.
Right.
And so I go in and I just listen and I laugh, and you know, if it's funny, I'll laugh. If it's whatever what it is, you know, you have to. Since I have been spending more time in comedy clubs probably in the last 2 years than I've ever spent in my life, I now kind of see how the whole gay humor is such an easy sort of like button to go there for a lot of comics. And, you know, it's easy to make the jokes about gay people and to, you know, and to do the stereotypical kind of like, and they, oh, honey girl, and you know, all that stuff. And it's cute and it gets a laugh, you know, but at the same time, you know, it's interesting because when I go on stage and now I'm actually a gay person that's in the room, it would shift the entire dynamic of like the jokes that I've seen is actually like, I've gone on stage and done my act and then other comedians will come on after me and like, oh yeah, you know, like Buttah Man was saying, I'm gay. It's just completely like, because now because I'm present, they're trying to now all of a sudden like, they wouldn't go in as much as they would go if I weren't there. It's like the person you're talking about behind their back walks into the room and now you gotta like clean up your shit. It's like that when I'm in a group and when I'm in a setting when there's a bunch of comics who are used to telling gay jokes. And what's interesting to me also is that, like, the perspective of the straight male comic when it comes to gay guys and the fact that, you know, you still got comedians, I still see comedians telling jokes about AIDS and, like, you know what I mean, like it's 1984. You know what I mean, like, just this stuff that it's like you have no knowledge of what has transpired in the last 20 years in this culture. You're still in that, you know, in that mindset. I mean, when you think about it, man, going back to even Eddie Murphy, like the jokes he made about gay people in Raw, you know, today,
they're like,
you know, if someone came out making those jokes, it would be like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? But now, you know, like again, people's perceptions, culture, times have changed, and so I think, you know, people have evolved their material. I, as an out gay comic who does it, you know, who's West Indian, who comes from hip hop background. You know, it's another bag because people are like, I've had comedians tell me, you're a straight acting gay guy. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an act. This is how I am. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't go home and be like, oh, hey, honey, pass me a Cosmo, let's spill some tea. This is how I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just more like, again, it's an adventure. I would say that much. But
it's more like, it's more like pass me the jerk chicken and the coconut bread.
I don't trip over it. You can't take anything personal. And it's like, if you're, for instance, you hear people make jokes, comedians make jokes about overweight people, I'm sure you're not going to punch anybody in the face after they said. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It's humor.
Not
you got to be
yet.
able to take a joke. If you're a comic, you got to be able to take a joke.
And that is kind of funny. It kind of, because I am the most hated comedian in New York City right now. Because
why do you say that? Well, you keep saying that, but I don't understand why you
keep
why
saying.
You say that.
Because it's mostly because.
Is that like your moniker? Or is that what it is?
No. This is what I've been told. Like most, most women hate my ass. In New York City, almost all the female comedians hate my ass because I'm anti-feminist. And it's not that it's not that I don't want women to have equal rights. It's just that I want them to also recognize they have responsibilities that come with those rights. But and some of the jokes I've said on stage, I gives no fucks. Like I really gives.
Well, I mean,
like even like if I had like if I had a gay joke, I would go full blast no matter who's in the room. That's just how I am. I got this joke just basically fucking with political correctness. I hate political correctness. I think it's very cowardly. I think it just limits you, like what happened with Amy Schumer. Even though I'm not a big fan of her, and it's not because of content, it's just I think she's mediocre. And
you better say your real opinion.
I've been doing this podcast for almost 10 years. I've been pissing people off for years. I've been like, when I was a member of the 9/11 Truth Movement, I exposed one of the big guys, one of the most well-known people in the movement for stealing money, and I was getting death threats, I was getting rape threats from other dudes for telling the truth.
Oh wow! See, that's what I'm saying about rape. Rape is not about sex; it's about power.
Yeah, they're like, oh, so, you
learn that firsthand.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, what fucking martial art is that? Like, I'm gonna.
So let me ask you a question: What are some of these responsibilities that you feel women should have with the rights that they're asking for? Like, what's the?
Well, the same thing. The same thing men have. The same responsibilities we have. The unwritten responsibilities. Like having
picking up a check.
It's more than that. I mean, it's because most men, like when it comes to the draft, women are not required to sign up for the draft. Men, as soon as they turn 18, they have to sign up with the Selective Service, and that's men only. Women are not required to do that.
They still do the draft though.
Yes,
I don't think you do that anymore.
They could still call up a draft anytime they want. I mean, Bush was when Bush was in office, they were talking about starting the draft so that way they could send more people to fucking Iraq and Afghanistan. Even though 9/11 was an inside job, right. Do your own fucking research. I don't want to hear it.
Right. Okay. Well, do it like I said. But I think as a comic, you do what feels right to you. Yeah. You stand behind whatever it is that you feel that you have to say. And I feel the same way too. I just not necessarily about your point of view, but as a comic, I just feel like say what it is you feel in your heart you have to say. Find the humor in the truth of whatever it is you think that your truth is, and do what feels right to you instinctively. And to me, it's like I don't care if anybody says other comics hate me or whatever. It's more like I'm gonna do for me what feels right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do like what I love, which is to perform and to pursue my passion for comedy. And you know what? Yeah, I can give no fucks about what other people think, especially what other comics think. Because to me, it's just like, okay, you know what? I give a fuck about who's gonna book me in a fucking room. Because at the end of the day, like, as much as I love comedy, you got to be able to perform it, to be able to get good at it. And if I am having all these comics in my head telling me, yo, you should do this, you shouldn't say that, and I don't see you on my Netflix queue, and I don't see you on Letterman, and I don't see you, you know what I mean, like doing anything of significance. If you're in the same open mic that I'm at, and you're telling me what you think of my comedy, I'm going to listen to you. But I'm going to filter your advice based on what I see coming from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least you say, you know what I mean? You got a podcast going on. You got other stuff happening. You got your own things happening when the character of the truth that is your life. You know what I mean? And when you make a decision, for instance, I made a decision to be a comic and to be out and out the target.
Yeah.
I know that that's going to disqualify me from certain things because people can't deal with that. I'm not going to be able to play everywhere because there's certain audiences that are still not accepting of that. And I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I'm happy to be performing, you know, I don't really do, like, pride shows. Like, I perform for the straight audiences, and I'm on the edge, like last night, I performed at this spot that was so hood. It was like, okay, you know what? I don't know if they're going to be able to take this material, but fuck it. I'm going to just go and do my shit, and fuck it. And balls to the wall, you know what I mean? I don't know how people are going to react when I go on stage and I say the words out of my mouth, I'm gay, especially because I'm performing in black rooms, and, you know, as much as I like to think we're progressive, you go to Crenshaw Boulevard, motherfuckers might not be trying to hear that shit. So, you know, it's very much like you got to kind of be courageous enough to do what it is you feel is right with your comedy.
Oh yeah.
And fuck everybody else's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I like to go in a room and just, like, with my jokes, just go in like a bull in a china shop and just be like, now how you feeling? Like, if I can make you laugh and also, like, make you aware on how a certain way of thinking is bullshit, I've done my job. I want to be like Bill Hicks. Like, Bill Hicks gave no fuck. Lenny Bruce gave no fucks. And, you know, and it kind of annoys me when a lot of and this is going on the whole political correctness about what's going on with, like, the whole thing with the whole Trevor Noah, you know, quotation mark controversy. You know, the whole Amy Schumer you know, it's like comedians can't say anything without someone be like, you offended me, like being a bitch. Like, okay, so you're affected by words. I mean, have you ever, like, had someone come up to you and, like, Buttah man, you know, I like your stuff, but that certain joke offended me, like, or has anyone, like, ever, you know, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have said that because it could trigger somebody.
Well, I mean, here's the situation, right? At the end of the day, you never know. Here's the thing about jokes. You know, you just pointed out, like, Trevor Noah and you know, and Amy Schumer and other people being called out about what they say in humor. But at the same token, you know, you got another side of that, Hannibal Buress, who, you know, he's been making those jokes about Bill Cosby for years. And now, because of that, he is like, you know, someone who has been out there forever, you know, just doing his thing. He started as a comic, and now he's on the national stage. So that's just showbiz to me. It's like, okay, you're going to say something. You're going to me, at the end of the day, your voice as a comic is something that you work years to find and to discover. So once you figured out what your voice is, you have to stay true to yourself. And if somebody gets offended, then that's what it is. It sucks. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, yo, it's more like, you know, we're out here because we have a passion. and a uniqueness about an occupation that not everyone can do, not anyone can do, and it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice to get to the point where, to achieve whatever level of success that you desire to achieve. And I just live in this pocket of like, I figured out, after years of doing this, what I want to say, what kind of comic I want to be, what kind of voice I want to have, and I'm still doing the work to get to where I want to be. But I can't be worried about what I say offending anybody and make my decisions in terms of how I tell my comedy based on what other people think.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, you shouldn't be on stage.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So this is all, the whole offending people and all that shit, that's what's called in comedy an occupational hazard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but doesn't it get you annoyed that, there's so many real things to be offended by? I would be offended if I was turning the corner on my block and there's a pile of murdered children. That would offend me. What would offend me is if what offended me was last year when my grandmother was mugged. That offended me. But if someone was marching down the street screaming "Spigs, Spigs, Spigs," I'd probably laugh my balls off. But I'd be like, you know what? God bless them, and just keep going on my way. But it's like there's so many weak-minded people that they focus on one line, and that's what they choose to be offended by, without actually like taking a step back and seeing, okay, this is the entirety of what he said, or he or she said, and that's he means this, and that's the point they're trying to make. But
at the end of the day, what we'll do, honestly, the other thing too, is when you think about it, there's a whole cottage industry of like blogs and social media, whatever, that laughs on those things, and you got people who are trying to get attention for their causes or whatever it is, and so if they think they can, use a celebrity or someone else and something that they said to get their 5 minutes of whatever for whatever cause. I mean, it's unfortunately that's the drawback of the society that we're in today, is that you've got a lot of people who have causes who are looking for cheap ways to kind of get exposure for it, and so if they can target a comedian who's saying this or whatever, and again, it's the blame game. It's like, oh, okay, you can't say this because this will happen. You can't do this, and to get back to the whole point about the whole homophobia stuff, is that like for me, again, like when I started, doing comedy and understanding was very difficult for me, because again, I'm somebody who was ashamed of the fact that they were gay, and now I'm all on stage every night telling people in group I even know about me being gay and my sexuality. It took a minute to evolve because of that point. And then, starting to realize, like when I started making a joke about all straight dudes thinking gay dudes are trying to rape them, it's because of the stuff that I heard. That was like, whoa, why are these dudes so gay talking about, like, what a gay dude is going to do is them just assuming that they even find them attractive. So it was just more like, and so that was, and so I found a way to turn that into a joke. You know what I mean? And that's what comedians do. They find the things that are kind of fucked up in society and find a way to make them funny. And that's why Jon Stewart is winning and Bill Maher and all those guys are winning, because they found a way to take all the fucked up shit that's happening in the world, tell the truth about it, and make it funny enough for people to be able to say, I would much rather consume Jon Stewart than consume CNN or MSNBC. So, I still have to say, but it's more like I do, like, again, like, we're out here doing this, and we understand what it takes to write a joke, to create a joke, to get a routine together, the work that it takes to get 10 good minutes. 3 years to get 10 good minutes of fucking stand-up, you know what I'm saying? So it's more like, at that point, I think as a community of comedians, we just need to be, we don't need to be the voice pointing at Amy Schumer. We need to kind of just be like, yo, she's a comic, she doesn't fuck with it. Not get it. If you don't fuck with her shit, that's a whole other thing. But it's just more like, you know what, like, we don't need like the funny thing I've learned in like the last like as far as in the urban comedy world, apparently like, you know, Kevin Hart, Mike Epps, and Aries Spears has negative things to say about him, and he's like the #1, you know, comedian right now selling out fucking stadiums. And I was kind of bewildered by that because I'm like, okay, so why, you know, okay, this man is obviously having a huge run of success.
Yeah. I
don't take anything away from Kevin Hart because anybody who could come back from Soul Plane, you know what I mean, is like, my hat's off to that brother. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, yeah, like you can't really deny his success. You might not like his content, but you know he's marketable right now. He's hot, like,
and he's worked through some of these biggest. Again, Soul Plane was probably the biggest cultural and commercial horrible movie that has ever happened that could ever happen to a comic playing in that movie.
And of course, don't forget Soul Plane.
If you remember how bad it was, there were protest groups. People were like, it was bad. And so to come back from that and to become like the highest grossing comedian, and this was like in a 10-year period where, again, the whole time he was still, you know, doing the bars and doing the clubs, doing all the stuff that we're doing to get to where, hopefully get to a level where we can achieve a quarter of success that man has achieved. So to me, for another comic to look at him and say, oh, you know, Hollywood is just in right now and he's doing this and he's not original and and I'm just like sitting here like, well, you know what, again, this is the thing about comics. It's like, all right, you know what, you know, are we going to be petty ass comics, or are we going to actually respect each other for the art that we're trying to do? You know what I mean? Because this is an art. This is my art. Like, this comedy is your art. Like, motherfuckers paint. Some people do, you know, other shit. This is art to me. Like, this is how I fucking express myself. And so I don't look at it from a perspective of, okay, you know what, I look at somebody in comedy that's doing comedy, and I respect their struggle and the sacrifice that it takes to do it. I'm not going to fuck with you. If this is what you want to do, now I'm going to fuck with you if I see you not taking this shit seriously. That's the problem I have. If I go to a fucking, you know, a mic or whatever the fuck and and you get up on stage, you fucking around, you go to stage, you like fucking constantly looking at your notes, and you don't have it prepared for your fucking shit, and you know what I mean, and you're just up there just fucking around. Now I'm going to have a problem with you because I'm like, yo, this is some shit that you need to fucking take seriously and have some respect for your fucking craft. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest thing. It's like people who just think that they could just do comedy because they think their life is funny and they're just going to go on stage and not actually tell any jokes. They're just going to go on stage and just be like, hey, you won't believe what happened to me today. I had my period. Like, what? Like, so what? You know, like,
have you guys heard
oh, my God, I bled all over 14th Street. Okay, so what? You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, have you guys heard of Tinder? And he was crazy. I'm like, so what? You know, like,
yeah.
That kind of shit pisses me off.
Have you guys heard of Tinder? Tinder?
Once you show people that you're really serious about this shit and you working on this shit, then it's like, yo, it's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel that like a lot of comics here, you know, they're doing the safe, edgy stuff. It's like not even like maybe they think it's edgy, but it's not. It's like it's been done. It's not edgy. It's just it just feels like, you know, because, you know, I guess because I'm a conservative libertarian conspiracy nut, like my head could go darker, you know, and a lot of these comics seem kind of, you know, scared to do real stuff, or they're just more worried about whether they're gonna get a paycheck than the actual art. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I kind of get what you're coming from, but at the same time, it's kind of like any comic who understands comedy understands that you haven't done anything to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, the job that you do at the coffee shop or the job that you do at Office Max, the job that you do in IT, pay your bills, what you do to get a check.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you're in comedy thinking that you're going to get a check, then, like, what the fuck? Like, you're, like, totally mistaken. It's like, if you're not doing this because you love doing this and there's a part of you in your spirit that isn't going to be satisfied if you're not doing it, then you're not going to be able to do it. You can't do it. If you go in thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to comedy, and after a year, I'm going to get a sitcom, and no, it's just fucking completely delusional. So I think that eventually those people kind of either fall off, you know what I'm saying? And I think now that I've been doing comedy for a while, I've noticed that there's like a school of, hey, I'm doing comedy now. And then like 6 months later, you don't see these people, and then maybe a year later they come back. Then you have your people who are just, they may be for a year, and then you might not see them anymore. Then you got some people who are just like, you see them consistently, they're working, they're doing their shit, they're going through their shit no matter what, you know what I mean? They're just doing comedy, and it's a slow rate. And so to me, it's more like, yeah, you know, I recognize, after you've been doing it for a while, you recognize the people who really take the shit seriously. You recognize the people who okay, this is just something I need to do to get shit off my chest. This is just an excuse to get me out of the house. I can socialize with my friends. You know, like, there's a whole other subculture of the comedy world where you see like who's fucking for real and who's whatever. You know what I mean? But for me, it's more like, and I actually have to wrap this up because I got to be somewhere at 8.
Oh.
But definitely, you know, I would say this, bro. I think that, you know, one thing I remember was that, regardless of whatever your point of view is as a comic, whatever your belief, whatever your stance is as a comic, it's just one thing. And it to me is like this: if you want to be successful at this, you have to put the hours in. You got to put the hours in. You got to put the hours in on stage. You got to put hours in writing. You got to put hours in, you know, getting your technical stuff done. You got to put the hours in promoting yourself and doing your social media and doing whatever it is you can do to put your message out there, because no one's going to do shit for you but yourself. And that is how you eventually grow a career in the business. And so, like, that's if I have to have that one message to leave on to anybody who's out there doing comedy and listening, is that I was going up on stage 3 years ago, possibly maybe like once a month. And I thought that was okay, and that was like a goal. I can go up once a month, And then I watched this documentary about I think it was about the Comedy Store, and it's basically like Jerry Seinfeld was talking about how, like, you know, the only reason one great comedian comes along every 7 years is because everybody's busy, everybody always has something to do, and no one's putting in the hours. And I realized, yo, he's talking to me.
Yeah, the documentary is called The Main Room.
Maybe, I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I want to say but I don't know. It was a whole bunch of comedians talking about the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And or was it? Oh yeah. And so basically, it was that what Seinfeld said just got to me, and that's when I was like, I started going to open mics and doing everything I could do to get on stage to get better at what I was doing, and I started noticing the difference. I mean, and now I'm blessed enough because, you know, I'm actually, and this is where I gotta plug my shit. You know, I performed at the Comedy Store on the 26th of June that just passed, and I've been lucky enough to be invited back to perform again at the end of the month at the 30th of July.
Nice.
And this would have been my, like, 5th time performing at the Comedy Store. For me, that's good enough. You know what I'm saying? If I don't do anything else, bruh, in my fucking career, I can at least say I performed at the Comedy Store. And that's good enough. I'm just going to keep doing the work, but as far, you know what I mean? But every time you achieve a milestone in this game, because it's so much hard work, you have to celebrate it and appreciate it and be grateful. And I'm just grateful for every opportunity that I've had. I'm grateful for the folks. Shout out to Laughing Buddha. I mean, you know, and Jeff and those people for at least providing a place where I could perform on a regular, even if it's for 5 minutes, whatever the fuck, like, some place to fucking do my shit, you know what I'm saying? And so it's more like, the appreciation for the fact that, if you really put the hours in and you really feel like this is what you want to do, you can be successful on some level, even if it's just saying, I've achieved a goal in comedy, because this shit ain't easy, you know it.
Yep.
So it's more like, all right, you know what I mean?
I hear you. So, Buttahman, just follow Buttahman at all, all things
Buttah.
All things Buttah on the Twitters, or Buttahman, just search for Buttahman on Facebook, and you spell that Buttah. Buttah and man. Man. So that's 2 words.
But follow me at All Things Buttah Instagram, because I always pretty much Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything goes to the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you just hit me up on that. And again, I have my show coming up on the 30th at the Comedy Store. If anybody on the West Coast wants to come check it out, all love. And hopefully I'll be back in the New York area soon to do some stuff before the summer's out.
Yep, that's so the Comedy Store. No, that's not it.
Sunset.
On Sunset, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to find
Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset. Okay, if you're on the West Coast, instead of the best coast, which is the East Coast, we're gonna start that war again. East Coast, West Coast comedian wars. Everyone in the
good luck with that.
So, everyone in the Midwest, in the middle of the country, they're just fucked. You're not funny, naturally. So I'm just saying.
Well, eventually you're gonna have to leave wherever you at to get out here anyway. So pick a coast.
Yeah. I would rather have a coast where I could piss in water, throw it out, waste water, and go nuts because we don't have a drought.
There's not a drought when it comes to if you're a weed smoker. There's no drought over here, and and everyone should have the experience of buying weed with their debit card. So
That's cool.
West Side.
It was okay. Touche. So I'd like to thank Buttahman for coming on, and as always, you have an open invitation whenever you want to come on. You got something you want to talk about, you want to put that shit on blast, let me know, and you're on.
Well, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate you, homie. I love it when we can, we discussed it when I was in New York, and now we're making it happen, yo. So that's how we do it. It's all about follow up to get your dollars up in 2015, yo. So thank you so much, bro.
All right, later. That was Buttahman. Just check him out, All Things Buttah. Oops. Check him out, All Things Buttah on the Twitters. Or if not, just go to the description of the show, and a direct link will be put, and it will be, it'll just send you there. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this show today. Come back next week. I am trying to get on this guest, and So as always, from my house to your house, mahalo.
That's the end of my show. Donk.